Hi everyone, this is Niki Rowland for Bramble Fox, and today I am not using the February Fox box. I'm using something else available from the store. So it's one of the latest releases. It says Nom Nom Nom, and it comes in this lovely kind of silvery grey colour, and it also has a little set of cutlery as well, so a knife, a fork and a spoon. So I thought I would make a layout with my little one, my little baby, who is 18 months old now and eats huge amounts of food. He loves his food so much, so it's really nice to be able to scrap about this story. My other two didn't eat anything, so it was nice to document this, and the Nom 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 gave me the perfect reason to document that. So what I'm doing is I am cutting up a load of strips of pattern paper, and I'm hoping to be able to arrange them nicely onto my background and create a layered look of papers of various strips of different lengths and sizes. So I cut a load of papers, I distressed the edges, I arranged them onto my layout, and I'm not happy. So I spend quite a while shuffling them around. They've been in many different positions that you guys haven't even seen, and they completely change after this as well. So I say this idea started off so well in my mind, and then I just couldn't bring it together on the paper. I just didn't like what it looked like. So what I'm doing there with the Bramble Fox Nom 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 is I'm backfilling the letters of the first word, the first nom. They're open, it's an open font. So that means that I'll be able to see whatever I put that on top of, I'll be able to see the pattern through the letters, and I didn't want to do that. So I wanted to backfill it with a colour. So I've gone for a kind of dark, deep teal, and I'm just backing that. So what I thought I would do was just stick some paper to the back of my my acrylic, and then just kind of trim around it. Well, that didn't work at all because the letters needed trimming around quite tightly, and there was actually quite a few little triangle bits that I needed to cut out of it, so I actually had to cut around it quite carefully. So I spent a bit of time doing that. I used a pencil and drew around it and had to trim it a few more times. So okay, as you can see, everything's come off of my layout, and now I'm starting again with a few less paper strips. I've mounted my photos onto a journaling card. They are on one journaling card at the moment, so they're one piece that I can move around, and then my Nom 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 is backfilled. So I'm now I've now decided that I'm going to have all of my strips the same length, and to go for like an ombre look from the top to the bottom, so from light at the top down to the darkest shade at the bottom. So that's my plan, and that is how it all comes together in the end, and it looks pretty good, and I'm happy with how it ends up looking after many attempts at getting these paper strips to look good on a layout. So yeah, I'm still fiddling around trying to figure out how my layout's going to look, and eventually, I do decide on these paper strips that are in an ombre kind of fashion, really. Still fiddling around. One of the strips isn't long enough to go across the whole width of the other strips, so I'm going to have to cut that one in half and hide the gap behind my photo. You can see it there. And I've distressed the edges of all of those, even the ones that I've newly trimmed down, and now I'm pretty happy with how that's looking, so I'm just going to get those all stuck in place, including that one that doesn't go all the way along, and then I get to this point, and I feel that the top edge needed something as well, so I've pulled out just a piece of plain vellum, and distressed the edges of that as far as you can with vellum, and I'm going to put that at the top. So again, I'm still fiddling around with the layout. I think my problem is that my photos are together as one block. Normally I would have them separated into two separate photos so I can angle them. So that's what I've decided to do, cut them in half, and then I've got something that I'm much happier with and much more comfortable with, that's much more me. I now have a slightly thinner edge on one side than the other of my photos, but I'm just going to have to roll with it and not worry too much. Nom 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 I decided to mount onto a piece of white card and then mount that again onto another journaling card, that it stands out really nicely. The knife, the fork and the spoon I want to make turn into a feature. So here I am, adding the vellum. I toyed with the idea of putting it in. It was actually too wide, and then I didn't realise at the time that's why I didn't like it. But now that I had a brainwave and decided to trim it down slightly, it looks way better at the top there than what it did when it was a bit thicker, and that kind of balances out the layout as well. So it makes the gap at the top and the gap at the bottom a similar size. So therefore, I'm really happy with how that's looking. That just balances out the layout much better. Okay, so I'm happy with my background, I'm happy with my photos, I'm happy with my Nom Nom Nom. Hooray! Got there eventually. It only took me goodness knows how many hours to get this far. You wouldn't believe the amount of editing I've had to do on this video. So now that I'm happy with how the bare bones of my layout, I'm just going to get all of those main elements stuck down, and then I can move on to embellishing. So moving on to the little set of cutlery. It's so cute, honestly. These little things are so adorable. So I thought I'd try and make a feature out of them. They looked really nice on this deep teal strip, and so what I'm doing is I am going to tie a tiny bit of silver thread around them, but it proved tricky doing that and keeping them in position. So I've laid the thread across the layout, I've stuck the knife, the fork and the spoon in position, and now that they're stuck down, they're not really stuck, the glue is on them and it's movable, and I'm now tying a little tiny bow so that they are tied together, but trying to tie them and then position them wasn't working. So I've done it that way instead. And now I'm going to add in a couple of these frames that I've got from this kit that I'm using. And one of them is going to sit beautifully over the top of my little cutlery set. So super cute. I am making a feature out of that by tying the thread around it and also by adding the frame as well. So yeah, I'm really happy with how that looks. Both the Nom 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 and the cutlery set looks super duper cute. Okay, so now I can move on to embellishing. So it took me a while to get there, but I got there eventually, hooray. So I'm just now adding in a few areas of embellishment. So I have a whole bunch of die cuts, so I'm just tucking those in underneath the layers and having those kind of poke out. So I'm kind of got a horizontal element of the photos in the Nom 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 going across the layout in the middle, and I'm just extending that line with a cluster either side. I will also extend the cluster on the left, so the one with the photo, down a bit as well. Yeah, I'm just kind of fiddling around with it. I just wanted to balance out the size of those clusters as well. Obviously I've got a shorter Nom 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 than my photos are taller, so I needed to be mindful of that when I was arranging my clusters. So yeah, I'm just kind of making sure that they look balanced and not none of the embellishments on the right hand side are above the top edge of the Nom Nom Nom, and the same on the left, none of them go above the photo. I really like a few of the snowflakes that I had in the kit that I was using, so I've added a few of those, and I'm adding those kind of in a vertical line from top to bottom. You can see the blue one above the photo, and there's another one underneath, so I'm just going to build on that soon and add a few more snowflakes. Here they come. Just as I say, going to build on those. That little cat or badger, I thought it was a cat, someone else told me it was a badger. She went on a different layout and then she got ousted, so I felt sorry for her, so she's now appearing on this layout instead. She goes much better in terms of colours, so she appears on this layout there. So I've put that above the Nom Nom Nom, cat stroke badger, has nothing to do with my layout whatsoever, but it was cute and it was the right colour, so on it went. I've just added a few more of those snowflakes now. I've added a chipboard snowflake which didn't want to stick down very well, so I've added some glossy accents behind it, and I've just put my pot of Nouveau paste on top of it to hold it in place until it bonds a bit better. And then just adding a flare badge there, and a few other snowflakes, and then I'm just coming in now with some enamel dots. This is a really lovely pack of enamel dots, lots of different blues and greens, and there's also some other pretty colours as well, like an amber colour that is really lovely. I didn't use them on this layout because it totally didn't go, but I used the blues and greens on this one. And now I just wanted to add some splatters around the edges of my two clusters, so just extending the clusters that way. I've just used a Shimmers paint and added some water to that, and then picked it up with a paintbrush and splattered it around my two clusters. So I covered up my photo with a packet of something and my Nom 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 as well, so that I didn't get too many splatters on my photos and where I don't want them, because my paintbrushes are a bit rogue these days. For some reason they splatter in all different directions and not necessarily where I want them. So now it's time to add my journaling, and I thought I would be really clever and do something different and to add my journaling onto vellum. This turned out to be a really bad idea, mostly because one, you couldn't see the writing because I put it onto quite a dark background, and two, it wouldn't take the pen. So I don't know why I thought you could write onto vellum pretty normally. I perhaps needed something like a slick writer or a Sharpie style pen, whereas this is just a normal fine liner, and it wouldn't take, it just wouldn't come out properly. So I persevere, and I continue to do my writing because I've done it now and I'm gonna add it. I was being stubborn and not changing my mind, but actually what I do off camera is to add some white strips on top of those vellum strips and rewrite out my journaling. So I don't do that on camera, but you'll see it in the close-up photo in a moment. So I'm just adding in a few silver twiddles under my embellishments, so lots of leaves and flowers and things on this one, so the silver twiddles went really nicely. Just some thread that I've tied around and stuck underneath. So just doing one on the right, and I'll do one on the left as well. So I use a We Are Memory Keepers thread. It's my favourite one for the sewing machine, but it's great also for adding twiddles under layouts and embellishments. So that's what I'm using there. So it took me a little while to get the ends in the right place. They wouldn't behave themselves for some reason. Normally this thread's pretty good. Okay, that is me pretty much done. Okay, so just realised that some of my photos are not stuck down, so I've added some foam pads under there. Okay, that's me done. So thank you so much for joining me today. You can get this little set from the Bramble Fox store, so head on over there to get that. Thank you so much for joining me. That was Niki Rowland for Bramble Fox.